I think I confused Krista.
This meeting is being recorded.
All right, everybody. We're going to go ahead and get started. I don't want to take too much of Tara's time. She is a busy mama. And you guys, if you don't know Tara, I urge you to go check out her social media and just kind of learn a little bit more about her and her story. And she's been an incredible support system for me personally, and probably for so many of you, and will be. And so I definitely see her as kind of like the queen bee of Q. So she's definitely one to us to look up to and just kind of follow in her footsteps and really soak in everything she has to teach us, because she's a wealth of knowledge for us and just always has incredible, not only tips, but just training for us, and really needing to start fresh with everything we've ever learned in the past and just kind of soak in everything that they teach us. So definitely take notes tonight if you can, and just kind of soak in every word. And we appreciate you doing this for us so much.
Awesome. Okay, so sorry you guys, if that we changed the Zoom link. We'll fix Jen's Zoom soon. But for those of you who don't know me, I'm Tara Truax. It's been actually a really crazy day. I still have like my sweats on, and I don't have a bra on, so I ran errands and everything. I looked in the mirror at the bathroom while I was out and was like, oh my God, I don't have a bra on. That's the kind of day it's been. And I text my husband and he's like, oh, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm like super flat chested, so I don't need a bra by any means. But anyway, I'm way too old to walk around without a bra on. So that's me. That's the whole, that's how I roll. And that is straightforward. And if I can make $1.5 million in 4 years here, helping people by being a hot mess, you guys can do it too. So what I actually, one of the biggest things that I focus on and I spend a lot of time training on, and I do a lot of one-on-ones on, especially with upper level leaders, is working through limiting beliefs and specific areas. And I have trainings all over on YouTube and our team page all over on different areas of limiting beliefs, from money to body to business to family. I have all kinds of different trainings on this specific, but tonight, very much so, I wanted to talk about the limiting beliefs you're holding within your business that are stopping you from growing your business at the rate that you desire. I actually didn't say the rate that somebody else is. I didn't say the goal that somebody decided to throw on you so that they could hit their rank. I am asking you to get to a place wherever you are that you have pen and paper to write down, so that the next 30 minutes or so is not a waste of your time, energy, or effort. You're not just sitting on a call to say you're on a call, because that's not working your business. It's actually not. Sorry, guys, but team calls are not working your business. Anything where you're working on education does not produce income. Just going to tell you that straight out. Education does not produce income. Action produces income. Education fuels the mind, which can inspire action, help you take inspired action, but education does not produce income. Okay, so we have to flip that narrative within us that just because you're learning a skill, if you're not taking action and practicing and putting those skills into place, which includes writing and taking notes, not typing in your phone, but the actual we are actually designed to write. The hand to the mind of this, how that works is not this, okay? We're actually not designed that way. So if you actually want to make some true progress in getting in a little bit deeper of what's holding back the growth of your business, I suggest getting one of these in your hand right now and some paper. Because as we work through some of these things tonight, you're going to have some stuff come up. I'm going to ask some of you to share. I'm going to ask some questions. I'm going to go through some things that I'll ask you questions via the chat. And if you're not taking notes, then today, this time was a waste of your time instead of an investment into the future self of you. So make sure right now you're investing in you, and you're going to apply that and focus and do the work right now. So everything you do right now, as soon as we get off the call, you can apply and watch your business grow even by next Friday. Because here's the thing about limiting beliefs. Limiting beliefs are simply the baggage that we hold onto that we identify as ourselves. They're the things that you think we see on you that none of us do. They're the things that when you meet somebody that if you didn't tell them your whole story, nobody would know it. We all have the same value. We all have the same worth. We identify our worth and value on the baggage that we carry that nobody can see, but it bogs us down, and it bogs us down to a point that we often cannot go forward in our dreams because our past is so heavy. And the number one place I see people do this is with money and with business. So right now, just off the first top of your head, you can jot it down. And then the ones that stand out the most for you, please drop in the comments, okay, in the chat, your number one limiting belief in your personal business. The number one limitation you feel you face every single day when you go to work your Q Science business. And your number one limiting belief when it comes to money. I'm going to ask you one more question. What is the max amount you're willing to receive for working your Q Science business a month? What is the max amount? You'd say, I'll make $100,000 this week. If you say, I'll make $100,000 this week and you don't believe an ounce of it in your body, you will never make $100,000 this week. You say, I can make $20,000 this month. And you're like, okay, that I feel comfortable with, but I don't feel comfortable with 40,000. Or I feel comfortable making 5,000, or I feel comfortable making 200. You can say this and I test it. I feel comfortable making 5,000. If that feels not uncomfortable, just say, why does 5,000 not feel comfortable? Write that. Go, do I feel comfortable making 2,000? Okay, that does. And we want to get to a point where whatever it is you are willing to make in a month, that you're comfortable saying that, because that gives us a point for growth. But if you're not willing or comfortable making money in your Q Science business, we're going to have a really hard time helping you grow. So we have to get to where you're comfortable in order to open up where you want to grow to. Okay, so let's look at your limiting beliefs. You guys put all of those in the chat. So I have to scroll to read them, guys. Sorry. Okay. I don't have what it takes to grow a huge team. Let's talk about this. Number one, okay, hang on. I got too many numbers in my head all at once. I got to clarify. You guys will learn that really fast. I like super bad ADD and then I like in and out and then all over the place. So, okay. So number one, why do you need a huge team? Number two, what does it take to have a team? Number three, what does it take to grow a team? And number four, what of those skills have you not yet learned? And who can teach them to you? Where could you learn them? Where could you grow them? Or are you even willing to learn them? Number five, do you even want a huge team? Sometimes the things we don't think we have what it takes is because we don't even want it. One of the coolest things about Q Science is you can grow a really strong foundational business by getting a couple customers and a weekly paycheck and helping a couple people get a couple customers and a weekly paycheck. And just focusing on very simply getting people a couple customers and a weekly check. I have a team of 150,000 something people. When I started Q Sciences, I left my entire organization where I was. I did not bring one person from my business where I had been for 3.5 years. Not one. Guys, can you please keep yourselves muted if you can, or otherwise I won't. I'll have to switch the muting setting just because I have bad ADD. And it distracts me, completely distracts me. So I forgot what I was even talking about. So when I came to Q Sciences, I simply needed to replace what I was making, which was a couple thousand monthly, and help the people I brought in who trusted me get paychecks. And that's what I focused on. I didn't focus on huge. I didn't focus on the future. I actually focused on replacing my income at Christmas time because we needed that money because I didn't know how I was going to afford Christmas. But there was no future. There was now. There was helping the newest person win. And once I got past that point and I got past Christmas and we got into January and I saw people winning, I started to have a little more hope and I started helping more people win. But still, we moved all the way to Emerald in 10 months by me helping the newest person get weekly checks. I didn't suddenly wake up one day and have a team of 150,000 distributors and over that in customers. Because that was unfathomable for me when we were $100,000 in debt. My son's health was suffering, and I just needed to make it through Christmas. Some of you guys are worrying about something that is not even part of your reality, and you need to focus on what is right in front of you. So let's not focus on having the skills to grow a huge team, because the skills I have now, I did not have when I came to Q Sciences. The skills I have now, I have learned and grown and developed through some of the hardest business transactions, the business deals, working with some very difficult personalities in order to even get to where I am now. And I'm 42, almost 43 years old, and I am nowhere to be dying or done. I still have a whole life ahead of me where I'll be able to apply those skills and grow those skills into whatever it is else I want to create. But if you're not developing and learning simple skills where you're at to simply help people get weekly checks for the people that partner with you with the confidence, because those skills are laid out. Every single skill you guys have learned, it is laid out. We have broken it down step by step, piece by piece, all lined up just there for you. All you have to do is pick it up, practice the skill, and develop it. And once you develop that skill, you start to build confidence, and then you teach it. And once you start teaching a skill, then you really start to ingrain it in your body. And that's where you become an expert. But you don't ever become an expert overnight. So we need to break up and disintegrate that you don't have what it takes in you to step up into the leader that you already are and are meant to be. And I'll tell you this, if you're struggling with how you lead a team, look in the mirror and ask yourself, how can I lead myself 1% better? 1%. How can I lead myself 1% better in my faith? Today, how can I lead myself 1% better in my family? Today, how can I lead myself 1% better with my fitness? Today, how can I lead myself 1% better with my finances? And today, how can I lead myself 1% better with my friends? Because if you did that every single day in 365 days, you would be 365% better than you are today. That's growth, my friends, by 1%. Did you see? It wasn't a huge team. It wasn't a huge commitment. It wasn't a huge leap. 1%. I didn't say nail it at 100%. Just do a little better. In fact, right here on my wall, it says right here, how can I do better today? It didn't say, how can I do better than yesterday? It didn't say, how can I do my best in my whole life? It says, how can I do better today? If every day I'm focusing on how can I simply do better, you're going to be better. The next one, limiting belief I have in here is I'm not good enough and shouldn't want more money. Well, ironically, also right here on my wall, it says kind enough, smart enough, successful enough, strong enough, talented enough, good enough, beautiful enough, bold enough, important enough, and what's that one say? Unique enough. Because these are all things we all struggle with. But see, once we get really clear that we are enough and exactly as we are, and that we are learning and becoming who we're supposed to be in the journey, because life's about the journey, not the destination, you guys. And so if we had everything we were supposed to learn right now, why are you even here? What is the point? So as we are in the moment saying thank you, because your differences and how unique you are, you're judging as you don't have what they do, so you're not good enough to have it yet. These are all limiting beliefs that you're holding from your childhood, from by the time you were 0 to 6, sometimes 12, but mostly 0 to 6 years old, because that's where our brain puts all the programming that we take the rest of our life, believe it or not. So from the time we're 6, you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s now, literally living with the memories implanted in your head from when you're 6 years old, trying to prove you're safe and you're right. So what happened in your childhood when you're 0 to 6 that you remember, where you were not good enough? And because you were not good enough, you didn't have enough money, or somebody said you're not good enough to have that, you can't have it, or you wanted to go to the store and you wanted it and they said you're bad, you can't have that. You shouldn't want more. Don't be greedy. You need to give it away. You guys, a lot of our limiting beliefs around money are implanted from our parents. There's something literally called epigenetics that's in our DNA, and that is actually how our memories come down through our parents. And a lot of the things that we hold in our body come from our parents and their grandparents, and it's old. It's not even yours. You could have beliefs you have about money that literally you have no idea why you believe it. You could believe, and you hear it all the time, money is the root of all evil. Maybe you went to a church where they said you needed to give everything away, and if you had extra you couldn't, whatever. Maybe you had a parent that at the time they didn't have something and they saw somebody who did and they said something to you and you identified with that. Maybe when you were growing up like I was, you guys didn't have money. I watched my parents file for bankruptcy multiple times. So every time we had something, the rug was pulled out. So I was always waiting. When I got it, oh God, when's the ball gonna drop, because I'm gonna lose it. These are all programmings that we believe to be true, but then as adults, we take action to prove we're right. But what if the greatest thing you could do is not be right? What if the greatest choice you could make was to be happy? What if the greatest choice you could make was to be free? What if the greatest choice you could make was to start dreaming again? When you were all little boys and little girls, you all had huge dreams of some sort. You all did. What did you want to grow up to be? Did you do it? Are you that? If you sat your 5-year-old self on your knee right now, would your 5-year-old self be proud of who you are? If yes, write down why. And if no, write down why. Because she had a dream, or he had a dream, just like you have a dream. And what happens when we get older, we get so caught in the wheel of making bills, and this happened, and we have, jobs and responsibilities, and you should freaking seen this entire day today with, don't go get a puppy. Whatever you do, just don't get a puppy. You should have just seen my day today, okay? And I'm telling you, you can get caught in that immediately, or you can stop and you can say, thank you. I get to have this experience. This is insane what I'm doing right now. Why am I cleaning up drywall? Because my dog just ate through the drywall. I don't know, but I get to have this experience right now, and I get to then hug her and give her a big hug, and I get to afford the $500 vet bill I had because she did this, but I get to do it, and it's okay because I can. My 5-year-old self is very proud of me for a lot of reasons. I did grow up and become a professional dancer. That was what I did. I did that until I was in my 30s. I had a really fantastic career. I've published books. I've traveled the world. I've faced my fears. I've shown up. And one of the most challenging things I've ever had to do is step into my power. Because the second you step into your power and you're seen and you're willing to shine, so many of us are shown along the way that when we shine, that's the fastest way to get a target right on your back and get shot down. Maybe you had a bad experience in a business. Maybe you had a bad experience as a child. Maybe you had a bad experience in another network marketing company or in a relationship or wherever it was. And you suddenly don't feel safe to be seen and shine. But how are the people and the business partners that you're going to work with ever going to see you if you're not willing to show up exactly as the perfect enoughness that you are to attract the exact perfect business partner that is looking for exactly who you are right now in this minute? Because see, if we were all exactly the same, there would be no point. There would absolutely be no point. So what I want you to do is think about 0 to 6, 0 to 12. What happened in your life where you had money and it was taken away, or you saw someone with money and they didn't have it, or you had an experience? Jot that down really fast. What stands out to you? What is popping up? Where were you feeling like you were not enough or you couldn't have what you desired? What? And it will pop in your head immediately. You guys, don't start thinking. It's not a thinking game. It will pop up immediately. It could be random. I've had people say, oh my God, I was in 3rd grade and I had a teacher and I had graham crackers in my hand, and they literally told me I couldn't have those graham crackers or I would be fat. That was what popped in their head. Somehow that was stored in there, and that was playing out as a limiting belief as in their life, in their 40s, that popped up when we brought up that question. So whatever pops up, you guys, it's coming up because it's the key. And we just have to pick up the key to unlock it so we can free up your future self so you can show up why you came here to be here, because every single one of you came here to do more, be more, and affect more. That's why you chose network marketing. Even if it was just simply to grow a business for your personal family, that still is be more, do more, and affect more, because you want to make a greater impact for your family. When you make a greater impact for your family, that makes a greater impact in the world. So you can't argue with me that it's not that. And you can even say, well, it's not about money. I don't care about money. You guys, I don't care. You're in a business. If you're in a business, you're here to make money because money has a flow and is simply the flow of giving and receiving. So if you're not willing to receive for the work you do, that's a whole other issue on your limiting beliefs, because just because you don't have it doesn't mean there's less in the world. So why not have more so you can overflow to others and make that impact? No one trusts me enough to join me. That is your own personal trust. Do you trust you to join you? And if you don't trust you to join you, write down, why do I not trust myself? Every single belief we have is a flip back into the mirror of the projections we put on the world. Every objection we have in our business is that projection right back to us of what we need to grow in ourselves, showing us the way. People get tired of hearing sales stuff. Well, if people are tired of hearing sales stuff, let's not talk about sales anymore, and let's start asking questions to show how we can support and show up in service to others. I sell nothing. I absolutely sell nothing. I provide simple solutions to help people open up opportunities to what they are looking for. I provide those opportunities and solutions. It's up to them to pick up and decide what is going to empower the next step of their life. I sell nothing. No one gets tired of hearing anything about sales from me because I'm not selling anything. Yes, I am in constant conversation. Yes, I am bridging to solutions. Yes, I'm bridging to people. It is always about who you're working with and who you've met, not what. It is never about what, or it's never about a company. It is always about who. But this person has taught me these skills, and this person I know has trusted me enough that if I introduce them to you, would teach you the exact same thing. If I introduced you and they could help you make a couple $100, would that stop you? Because I know that couple $100 right now would really offset the cost of what the economy has done for you and your family. If I introduce you, would you be willing to learn those skills and do that? There's your questions. The second we flip the narrative of sales to service, the second you simply have something for someone, you don't ever need something from someone. You guys, if you constantly have something for someone, it's the tale, the old tale about the waitress and the coffee. Every single waitress will ask you if you want coffee. And when you tell the waitress no, it doesn't ruin her day and she doesn't go off crying. Maybe you don't drink coffee. Maybe you want decaf. Maybe you prefer brew now. Or maybe when she asks you for coffee, it is the best thing ever. And thank God she came because you could not wait for your coffee. But if she quit, she just keeps going along and helping the next person. And she doesn't take it personal. So let's flip the narrative and stop making it about us and start making it about who we serve and how we can bridge solutions to what people are looking for. And suddenly you won't ever stop talking about Q because you'll have bridge and solutions for everyone. Now, you don't want to be a know-it-all, but you may know something or have something for that. If you're willing to try it, that's great. And if not, that's up to you too. But you do have a solution. It might be worth trying at this point. There's no investment. You guys are so invested in the outcome. Yet you don't even know how great the outcome's going to be because you're so invested in it. I'm not worth the amount I want to make. How much do you want to make? Because your self-worth has nothing to do with the amount of money you make. So where are you guys identifying your own personal worth with a rank, money, or income? And where does that tie back to when you were a child and somebody was desirable because they made money or had money, or that they have power because of that? Because the second you realize that you are valuable and you are worthy, and that no matter what you have, you can create it again and do it again, no matter what, because you have empowered your skills and belief in you. You guys, the universe can't give us anything we don't believe we're worthy of. If you told me, okay, if you told me right now, Tara, I want $1 million. Like, great. Yeah, if I were to drop $1 million in your lap right now, you'd be like, no. I don't know what to do with that. Like, okay, I'm going to pay this person. I'm going to give this person money. I'm going to give my mom money. I'm going to go buy this person a house. And before you know it, you have nothing left. Why? Because you didn't really want $1 million. Otherwise, you would keep $1 million. And you would say, thank you. Because you would believe you're worthy of that $1 million. But because you don't believe you're worthy of it, you give it all away and you don't keep it. This is what happens in your Q Science business as well. You hit a rank, you start to make money, you start to things coming in. Oh my God, I don't deserve this. I'm not worthy of it. Your business starts going down and your business starts leveling out. And if you guys have not read Ed Milet's The Power of One More, please read it. It is so incredible. One of my absolute favorite books, hands down. He talks about the thermostat. Even if you have massive success, you will naturally go to your natural thermostat and you will level it out. You will self-sabotage. You will turn it down to where your comfort zone is, and your comfort zone, even if it's uncomfortable. People do it with their health all the time. They get super healthy and then they sabotage themselves. They get their house in order, their financial house in order, and then they go get in debt again. You get to your comfort zone until you decide that you're going to break that habit and you adjust your thermostat. You have to adjust your thermostat about what you're willing to receive. That's why I asked, what is the most money you would willing to receive in your Q Science business in 1 month? Because that's your limitation. Now, here's my question to you. Raise your hand if you believe that you can make $100,000 in a year. That you personally could make $100,000 a year. It doesn't even have to be in Q Science. It's just if you believe you could do it. Okay. Now, raise your hand if you believe you can make $100,000 in a month. There's less of you. Raise your hand if you believe you can make $100,000 in a week. Now there's a lot less of you. Raise your hand if you believe you could make $100,000 in a minute. I actually watched people make $2 million in about 20 seconds when the crypto went through the roof. All of you guys' problem is not with the amount of money. All of your problems is with the time you put on what you're willing to receive that money in. $100,000 is $100,000, whether you make it in 2 seconds or you make it in a year or you make it in 10 years. The illusion is the time. So some of your greatest issues come with the management of your time. Time is a man-made thing, you guys. Time doesn't even truly exist. It was man-made so we could track our days. It is not even real. Yet you're using that to put a limit on what you're worthy of receiving in an amount of time. What if it was limitless? What is every single thing that came in, you said, thank you. What else is possible? How can it get better than this? Instead of, oh God, where's the bottom falling out? They're going to take my next check. When's the person going to leave my business? This can't be this good. What if it was simply, thank you? More, please. What if? What if the more you had, the more you could overflow, the greater impact you could make, the better you could show up for that long-term vision? Now, here's the thing. Are you dreaming? I asked you before, are you dreaming 5 years when you wake up on your birthday, 5 years from now? Where do you live? What do you see? What brings you joy? What do you taste? Who's there with you? Some of you guys give way too much value to people that are not even in your vision 5 years from now. Some of you guys let people break and ruin your dreams that are not even in them 5 years from now. Why are you giving people that are in the nosebleeds a front row seat to your life? They have no business there. The people that are in your vision 5 years from now, when you wake up on your birthday, those are the ones that have the front row seat. Those are your shareholders, those who have the buy-in, and they may not all believe in you either, but that's when you do it anyway, and you start taking them along. And believe me, when they start to go on the journey with you, they start believing. I have a perfect example with that with my husband in our house. Perfect example. Sometimes you don't have to talk about things, you guys. Sometimes you just have to do them. And when you do them with belief and conviction, and you do it because you trust that calling in your heart is greater than anybody's opinion outside of you, I promise it won't steer you wrong. It's when you start to doubt it that you do. And you doubt it when somebody you've given power to or influence to says something or has a different opinion than what you desire. So you turn on you. Yet if you got really clear with you and you kept taking that inspired action towards that long-term goal, the people will go away that are not in your vision 5 years from now. Those things that are distracting you, the things that are not fueling that vision. Because there's a reason you don't have that life right now. There's a reason it's 5 years out. And that's because you have to step into the unknown. And when you step into the unknown, that involves stepping in fear. Because you don't know where the bottom's going to fall out. And you have to trust that something will catch. And that's why I say over and over and over, that's where you must step into fear with faith. And as you take those baby steps, they get easier. And you can't see the whole journey. You just have to take the next step. I'm going to look at a couple more of these because a lot of them are similar. Okay, this is a good one. People may not trust me since I've been on several companies over the years. This is really common, you guys. Now I'm going to give you guys a whole other way of looking at this. How many of you still work the very first job you've ever worked in your whole life? None of you? How many of you have worked more than 5 jobs in your whole life? Most of you. How many of you have changed careers in your life? A lot of you. Does that make you untrustworthy? Does it make you that you can't hold a job? In fact, chances are, every job you've had, you've learned something either about yourself or skills that has taken you to the next step to where you needed to grow in your life, whether it be your career, your family, maybe you had to move. If you've been with multiple network marketing companies in your life, I see it as grounds that you have a very good perspective and you have learned a lot, which has given you the grounds to make the best business decision you've ever made because you've never seen anything like this and you've been in this industry for so many years. There's a lot of ground to be had when you take your failure as the exact thing that's launched you to your success. Your failure is not a badge of dishonor. Because if you didn't fail all those times, you wouldn't be here having the success, I can't say that word, success you are now. So you have to thank the failure. You have to. You have to thank the hardest time you had that propelled you to where you are now. And you're not even close to scratching the surface because this whole team is brand new. So the impact you guys are going to make is crazy. But if you let your past failure define that instead of using it as the solid ground you stand on to rise from, what's the point of the journey in life anyway? If I were you, I'd talk about it. I don't ever talk bad about a company I had been with, ever. I talk about the gratitude I had for the lessons I've learned, and this has allowed me to become who I am. So spin it, use it, and help others do the same thing. Someone said, I can't get a top leader. Guess what? You don't need a top leader. This business is built by helping people get a couple customers and a weekly check. You guys, I said it at convention. I will say it again. This industry is not about whale hunting. It just isn't. If y'all saw Avatar, the new Avatar, the water one, and they had the whale hunters there, do you guys see, those of you who saw it, the blood that they got from that whale was worth $800 million. And it took them forever to find a whale. And they had to sit out there forever. People don't come to Q Sciences looking for whales. They come here for a weekly paycheck to fill in the gaps for what they're looking for. Those gaps could be a couple hundred, a couple thousand, or more. But that's going to depend on their skills and their business skills. People are attracted to who we are. So if you want to attract you, you need to raise you up. If you're going to be an upper level leader, you guys, and you want to attract an upper level leader, you need to have that business designed out. if I were to post a job opening right now for the top earner that I'm looking to recruit, what does that look like versus a lower level leader that I might recruit? What does your job description look like? And are you marketing to that job description? And are you interviewing for that description? Because my husband in corporate America, where he sits, when he hires somebody for his job, he has a team of 10 recruiters that go through hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of resumes just to get 10 in his hands. From those 10, he narrows it down to 3 or 4. From there, he does those interviews. Then his partner interviews. Then down the team interviews this person, and then they make a decision. That process could take up to 9 months for an upper level position to be filled. And then about 60% of the time, the person sucks and doesn't last. How is this different? Yet, when he hires agents, there's a lot more positions. They're easier, not so many requirements, and the flow is a lot more, so they come and go faster, just like some of your lower level leaders. But see, an upper level leader has to develop more skill. They have more things they have to do. They have more influence. There's so much more. So let's stop focusing on hunting whales and start teaching people the simple skills to fish. Because when we can get them a weekly paycheck and feed their families, and we have a whole lot of fish in the sea, what do whales eat? They eat fish. Whales go to where you have a whole lot of fish in the sea and a whole lot of people are being fed, because that's attractive to them, because they want to get their people fed. But if you have a whole empty sea where no one's getting paid, they're not going to go to you. So let's focus on that and grow those skills, you guys. Okay, I'm going to do 2 more here. And then you guys are going to go home and start working on some of your limiting beliefs and start working through how you're going to do this. So I don't have an it factor to grab attention. Well, that's just so silly, because every single one of us is unique in our own unique ways. What you see as an it factor is comparing yourself to somebody else in a way that is not desirable for your market, your group, the people you influence. We would never open a storefront business in our town without having any influence or any marketing plan. For those of you who have not seen my social media marketing plan training, please ask Jen. She will send it to you. She will share it with this group, because getting a marketing plan in place as you are a network marketer is very important. You have to have a business plan in place in order to support you and your system, and knowing who you're marketing to can completely change everything, and it doesn't have to you being it. As long as you can develop simple skills to help people win along the way. All right. So last one, a lot of these are the same. Okay, a lot of them are just comments. Okay. Okay, this is a good one. Money doesn't grow on trees. It was what my parents said almost every day. I heard that too. In fact, I tell my kids that sometimes too, because they do think I have bottomless pockets. But they're also a little absurd, and they also know how. I mean, my son already leverages on Robux and is making tons of money on Robux, and I didn't teach him how to do that. So my kids have no issues with money. My husband and I always laugh about this. Thank God we broke that somehow down the line. But the funny thing is, money doesn't grow on trees, but truly, actually, it does. That's the irony of it. What they're saying is that flow doesn't continue. And that by giving and receiving, that you're not in that flow. So what I want you to do is I want you to go to that time in your life. If you have trauma, this is going to be the one exception. If you have trauma, you may not remember from 12 beyond if you had trauma after 12 in your 20s. That's okay. If you have something else that comes up later in your life, go to that experience. We don't need to go deep diving into trauma today. That's not what this is about. So go to whatever pops in your head, okay? That is okay. I hope you're working with some sort of therapist or counselor to work through that, because the hardest thing with trauma, you guys, is when we work a business with people will reflect those back to us, and it will start to come up. So we are in the people business. We bridge to people. I know we have really great products and a really great comp plan and all these things, but that's not what we're in the business of. We are the business of people, and people will reflect back to us all of our stuff really fast. So this is where I'm going to teach you guys how to do this release letter, because when people start reflecting stuff up to you, you can go be really patient with paper and not blow some of your relationships by doing this. But you can also do it with your limiting beliefs. So whatever comes up for you, whether it's something like, my mom said money doesn't grow on trees, but I want you to envision when you wanted something. You were at the store, there was something you wanted so bad, and they said that to you, and you just felt this disappointment. Go to that feeling and that experience. What you're going to do is sit down with some paper, completely undistracted, and you're going to, and make sure it's not attached to anything, because you are going to have to rip it out. And you're going to say, hey, Mom, when I was 5 and I asked for so-and-so, and it might start out like super contrived, like you might be like, oh my God, Tara's making me write this thing, and this is so stupid, but I'm doing it because I know it will help me. But as you do it, you'll start to realize your hand will just start moving. And I felt this way, and this is what I felt. And I went home and I just start going. You guys, I've seen people, I do this a lot. Okay. I was at a workshop, and one of the girls brought me her release letter, and she wrote so fast. It didn't even look like English. It looked like Arabic. It did not even look like English. We couldn't read it. And I've seen people poke holes in it. I've seen people tear it. I've seen people, they put every cuss word on the world out there because they never say them in the real world, which is not me, but that's fine. Whatever you want, it all goes on there. No one's ever going to read it. Every emotion, every feeling, whatever it is, it could be anger, it could be sadness, it could be whatever it is, you write it out, and you don't stop writing until you get to a place of love, forgiveness, or understanding. And the forgiveness is actually self-forgiveness. It's not forgiveness for the other person, because we see the world through our paradigm, our glasses. And so what you saw was your 5-year-old self glasses that you're actually, as an adult, still looking through the world as. We want to remove those glasses and get to a place that everybody is doing the best they can with what they have. Because think about things you've said to your kids, and we are all doing the best we can with what we have. And you can get to a place of true loving forgiveness. I forgive myself for judging myself as wrong. I forgive myself for judging myself as unworthy. I forgive myself for judging myself as fill in the blank. It's not for being, it's always for. And when that gets to a place of completion on that paper, you will take your paper, you will tear it up, and you can either take it outside and burn it. Don't burn your house down. If you burn your house down, do not blame me. I didn't do it. Has nothing to do with me. This is recorded. Or if you can't do that, on your stove, get a boiling pot of water, make sure the water is boiling, tear it up, put it in the pot, cover it, turn it off, and all the words will soak into the water, and the paper will be completely gone. The words will be off the paper, and then you can just throw the paper out. Either one of those is fine, but you need to release it. You don't want to keep it. You can do the same thing when someone upsets you. Instead of saying all the things you probably shouldn't say to them, you can dump it on a release letter and do the same thing. And it will release the energy so that you can then show up with clear intention without having emotion in business. Because again, we're always working with people. People will trigger our emotions, but we don't need to tie in with them and loop with them. Okay, so that's your homework. Find that strongest limiting belief, and let's dump that baggage in your business. So then the second part of your homework is your living vision. So 5 years from now, when you wake up on your birthday, how old are you? How old is your husband if you're married? How old are your kids? Where do you live? What does it look like? What does it feel like? What does it taste like? What brings you joy? What are you doing? It is your most ideal day on your birthday. If you could have a dream day and it's so perfect and you're writing it out as real. When I wake up on my 40, how old am I? Hang on, 43, 43, 44, 45, okay. When I wake up on my 47th birthday to my house in the Bahamas, I grab my laptop and my coffee, I go sit over the water and I start working on my third book. My son comes out, he's 17. He gets his art easel for an art show when we get back to the States. When we get back to the States, there's a huge gala for children and food that I'm really passionate about donating to. It talks about places I travel, things I do, all of these things, the lives I've impacted, all these things. It's in detail. My husband wrote his, and it's like way, way, way better than mine, by the way. So the thing is, the very first time I wrote my living vision, you guys, the very first time I wrote my first, I said, I wake up on my birthday 5 years from now, and I will be writing my second book. And every time I tried to change that 2 to 1, and my hand kept turning it to a 2. And the problem was, if I wrote my second book 5 years from now, I knew I had to start writing. And I had been wanting to write for 16, 17 years. So it scared the crap out of me when that vision was there. What did that do? It started me writing. That year, I published a book and we became a #1 international best-selling author. That was not on that vision, by the way. It was just 2 years I was working on my second book. But what happens is when you have the vision, you can start taking the inspired action in your life, and then the path starts to show itself. Remember what I said? You don't have to see the whole journey. You just need to see the next step and be willing to take it. If you don't have the destination, guys, you can't put it into the GPS of your car to take you there. So then you're in a field doing donuts over and over and over and wondering why you've paved such a deep route in the ground you can't even see out. Write the vision. You don't have to post it anywhere. You don't have to share it with anyone. For me, the first time I wrote mine and I shared it with my husband, he said, "Oh my God, I can totally see this." And then he said, "Now I understand why you're doing what you're doing." He didn't understand. He saw it completely different. And he started to make changes so that we could start funding it, so that we could start the actions, the choices, the things we were doing on a daily basis were for that. And it made this better. Does that make sense? We're not living for the future, we're living for now, but we're creating the things in the now that create the future. If you're dreaming about the future and not creating anything now, good luck getting there. I hope this was beneficial for you guys. I will upload this. I'll give you the recording because I know there's a lot of you who are going to ask, I missed this, I want this, whatever it is. But you guys, some of you right now are saying, I can't dream. Some of you are saying, will say, when you go to write your living vision, I can't see it, Tara. I cannot, you're telling me this and I cannot see it. That's because the baggage of your past is weighing you down. And you're going to have a lot more release letters you need to write and baggage you need to let go of so you can start paving the way towards your destination. Because if you don't have a destination to put into your GPS, you guys, it's going to be really hard to get there. And just understand, at any point, you can change that destination. You have the power to do it. But I want you to start dreaming bigger, because once you start creating those dreams and you start putting energy toward them, you will be blown away how much faster they start to happen and how many more lives you get to impact along the way. So Jen, I hope this was helpful. I'll upload this for you and I'll send it over to you. All right, you guys have a really good night. I'll talk to you soon.